Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
I know this was meant to be comedy, to make people laugh, but once again, Archie Bunker was right all along. This is why I love old school comedy. They weren't afraid to speak the truth. Back then, comedians used humor to talk about real issues and actually inform people. But now, it feels like comedy is full of cowards, afraid to speak on anything that really affects us. Take this segment where Archie talked about Democrats. He wasn't just joking, he was hitting on real issues. He criticized politicians for being out of touch, hanging around Washington without accomplishing anything. He even joked about a politician trying to find a meatloaf to keep warm, pointing out how disconnected they are from people's real struggles. He also talked about how everything was becoming electric, TVs, blankets, even hair dryers, and how that just made us more dependent on big corporations, constantly spending and consuming. Archie was warning us about a system where big businesses profit while regular people stay stuck, paying higher bills. It's funny, but it's also true. If Archie saw today's economy with inflation and corporations only getting richer, he'd probably say, "I told you so." Over 40 years ago he was calling this out, and now here we are. His comedy was real, and it's sad that we don't see comedians talking like that anymore.
And let me ask you this. Do you think Jimmy is roaming around the White House tonight trying to find a meatloaf to warm himself up on?
I don't think the Carters eat meatloaf.
Who the hell are they? They're only from Georgia. Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen and the congressmen. Boy, I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen turning down their electric blankets tonight. Because if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home. Oh, readers, the Democrats is doing the whole the Democrats. And you put them in there. That's the face you had on you when you come back in the polls. Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
Oh, the Reader's Digest says walking is very good for you.
Oh, ain't that lovely? The Reader's Digest can always put a little joy into poverty. Listen, my whole point is this whole thing with the energy and everything. This is all a conspiracy. You know that? It's a conspiracy there. Listen, for years, all our lives, they've been telling us to go out and buy stuff that use energy. All electrical stuff. Then you got electric toasters, electric ovens, electric stove, electric stereo, electric TV, electric race, electric hair blower, electric knives, electric every damn thing. Not to mention the cars. And now, after all the big corporations there make the billions and billions of dollars worth of profits, signals, wham, they're changed. And after telling us for years that we can't live without this junk, now they tell us that we gotta live without it. The country is going straight into the dumper. Question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country who want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see?
Let's talk about Archie Bunker and his take on gun control. If you know anything about Archie, you already know his ideas were, well, let's just say, different. But every now and then, in the middle of all that nonsense, he'd say something that actually made you stop and think, or at least laugh out loud. The clip I'm about to play is one of those moments. His way of breaking down gun control? It's definitely unique. And as wild as it sounds, it actually shows how some people really think about the issue. It's raw, unfiltered, and nowhere near politically correct. But that's what made Archie stand out. He said what a lot of people were probably thinking but didn't have the nerve to say out loud.
Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Houser Street, veteran of the big war, speaking on behalf of Guns for Everybody. Now, question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see? You take your big international bankers, they want to, masticate the people of this here nation like puppets on a wing. And then when they get that done, turn us over to the communists. Now, I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers. Which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
You could?
All you got to do is arm all your passengers. And then he ain't got no more superiority there, and he ain't going to dare to pull out no rod. And then your airlines, then they wouldn't have to search the passengers on the ground no more. They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end.
Now, here's where things get interesting. I actually think he had a point, at least in his own way. The idea of letting regular people arm themselves to stop crimes like skyjackings might sound extreme at first, but think about it. If a criminal knew there was a real chance their target could fight back, would they be so quick to try anything? Sometimes, just the fear of what could happen is enough to stop bad things from happening in the first place. And let's be honest, relying on the government alone for safety isn't always enough. The police can't be everywhere, and by the time they show up, it might already be too late. Archie's solution was simple. Let people take some of that responsibility into their own hands and defend themselves if they need to. Now, I get it. It's controversial. But it does speak to something real about personal responsibility and self-defense. I'm not saying this would fix every problem with gun violence, but it's something worth thinking about. Beneath all the humor and sarcasm, there's a deeper message about how some people genuinely feel when it comes to protecting themselves.
American history lesson. You don't know nothing about Lady Liberty standing there in the harbor with her torch on high, screaming out to all the nations of the world, send me your poor, your deadbeats, your filthy. And all the nations sent them in here. They come swarming in like ants. Your Spanish PRs from the Caribbean there. Your Japs, your Chinamen, your Crouch and your Hebes, and your Lincoln all of them come in here, and they're all free to live in their own separate sections. Where they feel safe, and they bust your head if you go in there. That's what makes America great, buddy.
Back in the day, this was more than just a TV show. It was a reflection of America, raw and unfiltered. Archie Bunker, the loud-mouthed but brutally honest character, said things that made people uncomfortable, but there was always some truth in what he said. He painted a picture of America as a melting pot, where immigrants from all walks of life built their own communities, lived by their own rules, and defended their space. It wasn't sugar-coated, it wasn't politically correct, but it was real. Studies have shown that this show actually improved race relations in America. It forced people to have tough conversations, the kind that we desperately need today but rarely get. The writing was ahead of its time, almost like the creators had a glimpse into the future. They tackled issues head-on, without the fear of offending someone at every turn. And that's the sad part. A show like this wouldn't last half a season in today's world, where every opinion is a controversy and every joke is an outrage. But back then, people had the freedom to speak their minds, even if it ruffled some feathers. There was honesty in those conversations, more honesty in a single episode of All in the Family than you'd get from 24 hours of mainstream media news today. The truth has never been pretty, and it's never been politically correct. But unlike the carefully crafted narratives we get now, this show didn't try to hide it. It laid everything out on the table, and that's what made it so important.
Why is it you liberals, no matter what subject you're talking about, you always get around to that? You guys got more ways for the world to end than a dog's got fleas.
And you guys got a way of wrapping up any discussion with one simplistic line that sounds good, satisfies you, and solves nothing.
When it comes to politics, some things never change. Watching this clip, you'd honestly think it happened yesterday. But no, this is just Archie Bunker being Archie Bunker. Sharp-tongued and ahead of his time. He sits down with a local politician, and from the moment the conversation starts, he goes straight in. No warm-up, no polite back and forth. He lays into her with his thoughts on liberal politics, big government overreach, and the direction he thinks the country's headed, straight down the drain, in his words. The exchange picks up steam fast. Welfare, women in office, subsidies for the rich, nothing is off limits. He doesn't sugarcoat a single word, and whether you agree with him or not, there's something almost refreshing about the way he speaks, bold, clear, and completely unapologetic. And just when you think he's winding down, he ramps things up even more. He makes it personal. He says he's going to knock on every door in the neighborhood, talk to every person he knows, and make sure they vote the way he believes they should. It's classic Archie. Loud, opinionated, and completely in command of the room. But here's the wild part. As you listen to him talk, it starts to hit you. The themes, the frustrations, the arguments, they're still alive today. Different faces, maybe, different headlines, but the same tension, the same cultural tug-of-war. Archie might have been speaking decades ago, but what he's saying feels oddly present.
Thank you, Mr. Bunker. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah? Well, it's nice to meet you, too, there, Miss Cleopatra, so I can give you a piece of my mind. You know something? If you liberals go on getting your way, we're all gonna hear one big loud flush. That's the sound of the USA going down the toilet.
Mr. Bunker, I want that vote of yours tomorrow. Now you tell me, how do I get it?
Can you handle a shotgun? Of course, that's the only way I know.
Come on, Claire, let's go.
No, Mike, just a minute. I want to talk to Mr. Bunker.
Hello, Miss Packer. I didn't know you were here. Here's your ice bag, Archie. How would you like a nice cup of coffee? I just got some fresh XL. Yeah, Archie.
I want to thank you for the ice bag.
You're welcome, Archie.
Now, do you suppose I could have a little ice in it?
Oh, sure. I'll be right back.
Listen, sis, I got a word of advice for you. Women in politics is like oil and gasoline. They don't mix. It's against nature.
Why, Mr. Bunker, you sound like a male chauvinist.
Right? An ordinary taxpayer. Now, you better stop running for public office and start running after a husband. Because I want to tell you from where I sit, you got some running to do.
Now, just a minute.
Here you are, Archie. Your ice bag with ice.
All right, Edith, leave
Now,
it
the
there.
coffee will be ready in a minute.
Because you ain't going to sell me none of your progressive pink or welfare ideas.
And what have you got against welfare?
Everything. I am sick and tired of people like you giving away my hard-earned money to a bunch of families who ain't even related to me, which they couldn't be related to me for complexionary reasons, if you know what I mean.
Are you related to any of the executives at Lockheed?
Huh?
Well, you must be because you're supporting them.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about government subsidy. You're giving welfare to the rich.
Welfare to the rich. Welfare? What is she? Welfare? Nobody in this country needs welfare. We got the highest standard of living ever.
And 6 to 7 million people out of work.
The grossest national product.
And an inflated economy.
We got the strongest country on earth.
Capable of being wiped out in 10 minutes by the second strongest country on earth.
Not if we get them first, lady.
If we launch and they launch, and then we both go up. Boom.
Will you tell me something? Why is it you liberals, no matter what subject you're talking about, you always get around to that? You guys got more ways for the world to end than a dog's got fleas.
And you guys got a way of wrapping up any discussion with one simplistic line that sounds good, satisfies you, and solves nothing.
You want to do me a favor?
What?
Scram.
Claire is our friend.
It's all right, Gloria. My father had a word for people who think and talk like you.
I ain't interested.
Mr. Bunker, you are a meathead.
What was that word I heard?
Meathead, Arch. That means dead from the neck up.
We better get out of here. He's not voting anyway, so 3 out of 4 votes from this house isn't bad.
Well, she ain't even gonna get that, little girl, because I just changed my mind.
Here's your coffee, Miss Packer.
Forget it. She's leaving. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen around here. Edith and I are gonna vote, so that's gonna cancel your 2 votes. So from this house, you get zilch. But more than that, I'm gonna follow you into that neighborhood tonight, and I'm gonna go over it with a fine-tooth comb. I ain't lived around here for 30 years for nothing. These people around here know Archie Bunker. They're my people. I'm gonna knock on every door and every window, and I'm gonna say to them all, stick to your guns, folks. Vote for London.
Back in the day, TV used to be real. TV shows actually tackled issues that mattered: race, politics, society, Things people needed to hear even when they were uncomfortable. But now most shows avoid those conversations completely because of the love of money. This clip is a perfect example of what we're missing. Archie Bunker and Sammy Davis Jr. are talking about slavery, and as usual, Archie has some wild takes. Sammy pushes back, and what follows is a conversation that's frustrating but important. Listen to what's being said and you'll see exactly why we need more moments like this on TV today.
Now, no prejudice intended, but, I always check with the Bible on these here things. Oh. Yeah, I think that, if God had meant us to be together, he'd have put us together. Well, look what he's done. He put you over in Africa, he put the rest of us in all the white countries.
Well, you must have told him where we were, because somebody came and got it. There was work for us. And how could you resist? Free transportation, room, board, chains.
I think you're talking about slavery there, Sam. I want to tell you that I was always dead set against slavery. Now listen, you're a guy been around a lot. Seen a lot of people, you know a lot, see? Yeah. Now you look at me. You figure me a prejudiced guy?
Oh, Archie, you don't tell me you're really paying attention to those young kids. What do they know? You prejudice. Look, if you were prejudiced, Archie, when I came into your house, you would have called me a coon. But you didn't say that. I heard you clear as a bell. Right straight out, you said, color.
Yeah, that's what I done, all right.
And if you were prejudiced, you would, like some people, close their eyes to what's going on in this great country that we live in. But not you, Archie. Your eyes are wide open. You can tell the difference between black and white. And I have a deep-rooted feeling that you'll always be able to tell the difference between black and white. And if you were prejudiced, you'd walk around thinking that you're better than anybody else in the world. But I can honestly say, having spent these marvelous moments with you, you ain't better than anybody.